men, the product of other worlds. S. D. I. 132. 13. They are closely connected with the 7 stars of the Great Bear. S. D. I. 488. S. D. I. 332. II, 579, 668. S. D. I. 195. 14. They are symbolized by circles. S. D. I. 582. 15. They are collectively the fallen angels. S. D. I. 284, 541.13, 116. The sons of mind are known by various terms, such as the Menasoputras, the Prajapatis, the Kumaras, the primordial 7, the Rudras, the heavenly men, the Rishis, the spirits before the throne. 14. Who are known in the secret doctrine by diverse names, are the mind-born sons of Brahma, the third aspect logoic. They are the 7 planetary logoi, and are the lords of the rays, the 7 heavenly men. They developed the mind aspect in the first solar system, that in which Brahma was paramount, and in himself embodied objective existence. This he did in the same sense as that in which the second aspect, the Vishnu or dragon, of wisdom aspect, is the sum total of existence in this the second system. The cells in their bodies are made up of the units of the human and Deva evolutions in the same manner, only on a higher turn of the spiral, as the bodies of human beings are made up of living organisms, the various animated cells, or the lesser lives. This is a basic fact in occultism, and the relationship between the cells in the human vehicles and the cells in the bodies of a heavenly man will be productive of illumination if carefully studied. Just as a human being has an originating source, the monad, and a semi-permanent vehicle, the causal body, but manifests through his lower principles, of which the dense physical is not one, so a heavenly man has an originating source, his monad, a semi-permanent body on the monadic levels of the solar system, but manifests through 3 lower sheaths. Our atmic, buddhic, and manasic levels. He is extraneous to the astral and physical planes just as a human being is to the physical. Man vitalizes the physical vehicle with his force or heat, but he does not occultly count it as a principle. So the heavenly man is extraneous to the 2 lower planes of manifestation, though he vitalizes them with his force. The human being realizes his relationship, as a cell in the body, to a heavenly man only when he is developing the consciousness of the ego on its own plane. If it might be so expressed, the groups of causal bodies are the lowest forms through which a heavenly man manifests, just as the physical body is the lowest through which a human being manifests, and this in its etheric connotation. It should be borne in mind that the manifesting existences embody certain planes, and have their points of deepest involution on diverse levels. A man originates on the monadic level, has his main focal point on the 5th level, the mental, but is seeking full conscious development on the 3 lower planes, the mental, the astral and the physical. B. A heavenly man has his source outside the solar system, as man outside the 3 worlds of his endeavor, has his main focal point on the 2nd plane of the system, the monadic, and is seeking consciousness on the planes of the triad, this in relation to all the cells in his body. He developed consciousness on the 3 lower planes of the 3 worlds during the first solar system, again in relation to the cells in his body. Man is repeating his endeavor up to the 5th initiation, which will bring him to a stage of consciousness achieved by a heavenly man in a much earlier Mahamanvantara. In connection with the initiations, this should be carefully borne in mind. See, a solar logos has his origin on a still higher cosmic level, has his main focal point on the cosmic mental plane, but is expressing himself through the 3 lower cosmic planes, just as man is seeking self-expression in the 3 worlds. Therefore, the 7 major planes of the solar system are in the same relation to him cosmically, as the physical plane is to a human being. They form his etheric and dense bodies. It might be stated that 1. He vitalizes them by his life and heat. 2. He animates them. 3. He is fully conscious through them. 4. The etheric is in time his lowest principle, but the dense physical is not counted. The dense cosmic physical body is composed of matter of the 3 lower planes of the solar system, the mental, the astral and the physical. The buddhic plane is consequently the 4th cosmic ether. The heavenly men form the 7 centers in the body of the Logos. Therefore, they are the spheres of fire which animate his body, and each of them expresses one form of his force manifestation, according to their place within the body. Human beings, when centered within their groups on causal levels, form one or other of the 7 centers in the body of a heavenly man. The solar Logos forms one center in the body of a still greater cosmic entity. Human beings therefore find their place within one of the 49 centers, not groups, for a center may be made up of many groups, corresponding to the different parts of the 7 heavenly men. A heavenly man, with his 7 centers, forms one center in the body of the solar Logos. I would here point out to you the close connection existing between the 7 rishis of the Great Bear and the 7 heavenly men. The 7 rishis of the Great Bear are to them what the monad is to the evolving human unit. Why is the progress of evolution cyclic? This question is one which necessarily appalls us and makes us wonder. Let us, therefore, deal with it as follows. Certain ideas are involved in the thought of cyclic progression, and these ideas it might pay us well to contemplate. 1. The idea of repetition. This repetition involves the following factors. A. Repetition in time. The thought of cyclic activity necessitates periods of time of differing length, greater or lesser cycles, but, according to their length, of uniform degree. A manvantara, or day of Brahma, is always of a certain length, and so is a Mahamanvantara. The cycles wherein an atom of any plane revolves upon its axis are uniform on its own plane. B. Repetition in fact. This involves the idea of a key measure, or sound of any particular group of atoms that go to the composition of any particular form. This grouping of atoms will tend to the makeup of a particular series of circumstances, and will repeat the measure, or sound when an animating factor is brought to bear upon them. When the vitalizing force is contacting at stated periods a certain set of atoms, it will call forth from them a specific sound which will demonstrate objectively as environing circumstances. In other words, the interplay of the self and the not-self is invariably of a cyclic nature. The same quality in tone will be called forth by the self as it indwells the form, but the key will ascend by gradual degrees. It is similar to the effect produced in striking the same note in different octaves, beginning at the base. See repetition in space. This concept is involved deep in the greater concept of karma, which is really the law that governs the matter of the solar system, and which commenced its work in earlier solar systems. We have, therefore, cycles in order, and repetition in an ever-ascending spiral, under definite law. The thoughts thus conveyed might be expressed likewise as follows. A. The solar system repeating its activity. Repetition in space. B. A planetary chain repeating its activity. Repetition in time. C. The constant consecutive reverberation of a plane note, of a subplane note, and of all that is called into objectivity by that note. Plane repetition. D. The tendency of atoms to perpetuate their activity, and thus produce similarity of circumstance, of environment and of vehicle. Form repetition. When we carry these ideas onto every plane in the solar system, and from thence to the cosmic planes, we have opened up for ourselves infinitude. 2. Repetition of cyclic action is governed by two laws. Perhaps it is more accurate to say that it is governed by one law, primarily, and a subsidiary law. This leads to two general types of cycles, and is involved in the very nature of the self and of the not-self. The interplay of the two by the aid of mind produces that which we call environment, or circumstance. The general law, which produces cyclic effect, is the law of attraction and repulsion, of which the subsidiary law is the law of periodicity, and of rebirth. Cyclic evolution is entirely the result of the activity of matter, and of the will or spirit. It is produced by the interaction of active matter, and molding spirit. Every form holds hidden life. Every life constantly reaches out after the similar life, latent in other forms. When spirit and matter sound the same note, evolution will cease. When the note sounded by the form is stronger than that of spirit, we have attraction between forms. When the note sounded by spirit is stronger than that of matter and form, we have spirit repelling form. Here we have the basis for the battlefield of life, and its myriads of intermediate stages, which might be expressed as follows. A. The period of the domination of the form note is that of involution. B. The period of the repulsion of form by spirit is that of the battlefield of the three worlds. C. The period of the attraction of spirit, and the consequent withdrawal from form is that of the path. D. The period of domination of the note of spirit is that of the higher planes of evolution. To the synchronization of the notes, or to the lack of synchronization, may be attributed all that occurs in the world cycles. Thus we have the production of harmony. First, the basic note of matter, then the note of spirit gradually overcoming the lower note, and usurping attention till gradually the note of spirit overpowers all other notes. Yet it must be borne in mind that it is the note of the life that holds the form together. The note of the sun, for instance, holds in just attraction the circling spheres, the planets. The notes synchronize and harmonize, till the stage of adequacy is reached and the period of abstraction. Cyclic evolution proceeds. A human being, similarly, holds, by means of his note, the atoms of the three bodies together, being to them as the central sun to the planets. Primarily, nevertheless, it may be posited that the law of attraction is the demonstration of the powers of spirit, whilst the law of repulsion governs the form. Spirit attracts spirit throughout the greater cycle. In lesser cycles, spirit temporarily attracts matter. The tendency of spirit is to merge and blend with spirit. Form repulses form, and thus brings about separation. But during the great cycle of evolution, when the third factor of mind comes in, and when the point of balance is the goal, the cyclic display of the interaction between spirit and form is seen, and the result is the ordered cycles of the planets, of a human being, and of an atom. Thus, through repetition, is consciousness developed, and responsive faculty induced. When this faculty is